Sometimes you're walking through the mall and something catches your eye in that display window. Some very colorful looking snacks and treats. Something smells so good coming from that particular place. Ultra processed foods are on display for everyone to buy at sometimes an even cheaper rate these days. But what exactly are ultra processed foods doing to our bodies? We need to ask these questions of the person who's here today, talking about Ayebusi Temitope Bodunde. He is a registered nutritionist dietitian. He is a member of the Nutrition Society of Nigeria and member of the American Society of Nutrition as well. Advisor of Tunakins Nutrition Care Nigeria Limited, and we're discussing ultra-processed foods and the health implications. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you so much. Happy to be here today.
Okay, so let's just clarify. We've heard of processed foods, and now you've called it ultra-processed foods. So what's the difference?
Okay, so first let me start with the processed food.
Yeah.
Processed food is a type of food that they just change, they transform them from their natural state to another state with the addition of few ingredients like fat, oil, and that's all. But when you talk of ultra-processed food, I call them sophisticated kind of food, and I also call them third-class kind of food because these are kind of food that you transform them from different forms. Yeah. And multiple ingredients are added to them, like preservative, additive, coloring, and many more with concentrated hydrogenated fats. Okay,
so now let me come back to processed foods now. So a processed food off the top of my head is maybe flour, because flour comes from wheat, right?
Yes.
It's blended down,
yes.
And I think it's dyed. They add dyes to it to make it white.
Yes.
So that is just an ordinary processed food.
Yes, that's
so
a processed
ultra-processed food would be what?
When you convert that wheat to cookies, cookies is an example of ultra-processed food because many ingredients have been added to it.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
Now, when I started talking earlier, I said, you know, there's a lot of colorful looking foods in the display. And we've noted that, of course, people are attracted by what they see and you know, what they smell when it comes to these foods. Obviously, things have to be added to make sure that customers are attracted.
Yes.
Right? But let's talk a bit about the manufacturers. Do you believe they are aware of the disadvantages of over-processing food?
Yes, they are very aware. Okay. Because we have some agencies that regulate the amount they are supposed to add. That is the function of NAFDAC in Nigeria. And we have our international agency, we call them Codes Alimentaries Group. So they are the ones that regulate the amount they are supposed to add. All those additives, being it preservative, there is a particular concentration they are supposed to add to their product. But most time, due to the system we find ourselves, some of them, they add more. They add excess so as to enhance probably the taste, the texture, and the product. Yes.
So now the average Nigerian has access to, you know, things like soda, you know, carbonated drinks.
Yes.
And obviously that is a lot of water and sugar and all sorts of things added in there. We've seen so many clips online of the number of cubes of sugar in the cola drinks that we buy, and yet people are still buying them. People are still consuming them. It's as if we keep telling them this is bad, but then they go for the bad. Why do you think that is?
Yes, firstly, because the product is easily accessible, number one. And number two, their environment, the behavior, what they are exposed to, that is play a significant role. When you're training your child, for probably you're giving what you have exposed your child to is what they like. They already have the taste, the texture, without having the knowledge. It's you as their mother or their parent or guardian that have the knowledge that, oh, this is bad. But you have exposed them to it. So it will take a longer sensitization to change their narrative towards the product. Yes.
I want to think about the average parent who's, you know, just stressed out all day, and then the child just keeps asking for snacks and cookies and sweets and things like that. What sort of limits do you think we should place on them? What is permissible? What is something that we can at least, on average, if we're going to reduce it, what's the barest minimum?
Okay, you can, because they are children and they will love to take that. So instead of making it available for them in their lunch box on daily basis, you can actually add little of it, and you subsidize or you complement it with fruits and vegetable. Like apple. Apple too tastes nice. Pineapple tastes nice, so you can package them in their lunch box. I think they love sweet things. So since that one is giving a sweet taste, so definitely with that, you can change their narrative from all those ultra-processed food products to that.
The average adult, maybe, going to work, is in traffic, he sees, sausage rolls on the road. I remember my breakfast back in the day was one sausage roll and yogurt in the morning, and that was my starter. And of course, a lot of other snacks along the way. But what exactly is it doing to our bodies?
Okay. Firstly, there are a lot of detrimental effects of too much consumption of ultra-processed food.
Okay.
So I will start by using obesity, which is a kind of a disease whereby there is accumulation of fat in the body as a result of excessive calorie intake. All those ultra-processed food, they contain too much fat and too much refined sugar. And all these, when they get to the body, what they give to the body is energy. And they give to the body in concentrated amount, too much amount. As a result of that, they create more fat in the body. And when they create more fat in the body, obesity is now a predisposing factor to many non-communicable diseases like hypertension, cardiovascular diseases, coronary heart diseases, atherosclerosis, and many more. Let me just give a clue of it. When too much fat is inside the body, when it accumulates, the first thing is they block the arteries, the blood arteries. So when they cause this obstruction in the blood artery, they make it difficult for blood to flow. And when they make it difficult for blood to flow, that is hypertension.
Okay.
When the pressure of the blood is now much. So, and if it continues, if necessary caution is not taken, it can block totally the arteries. And when the arteries is blocked, that is when you say someone is having ischemic stroke. The blood could not flow to the brain.
All right. So I know that the average person watching now just wants a guide, wants to know what to buy and what not to buy.
Yes.
What are the first foods that come to the top of your mind as stop buying it, stop eating this?
Okay. I would just like to take us back to our normal way of life as an African man. Because in Africa, those kind of food is not our own delicacy. Okay. Our own delicacy is because our own delicacy is natural food that contain carbohydrate, protein, fat in their respective amount without any refined.
Okay.
So those ones, they don't have much detrimental effect.
Okay.
But all these ultra-processed food, what they are made up of is concentrated and they are transformed products.
Okay.
Yes. So
if on my shopping list now, I want to go to a supermarket right now, what are the things you think I should strike off that list?
Yes, you are supposed to strike up all those fatty ingredients like all these. You may not strike them. Yes, you may not strike them because sometimes you still need them. Yes, like mayonnaise. Mayonnaise contains hydrogenated fat, but mayonnaise is also used for preparation of salad and the rest of them.
Sure.
So instead of using them in a concentrated, you can just add little. Little. So all these things, if you consume them in moderation, definitely the detrimental effect will be reduced. Yes. But why it becomes a problem is because people consume them often and often. People make it as now a food choice. Every day, day in, day out, Monday.
They've replaced actual meals with
ultra-processed food. Yes.
Okay.
That is where the problem is. And that is why we are now seeing increase of prevalence and incidence of many non-communicable diseases around us. Before you take a walk, 10 people you are seeing, 5 of them is diabetic, 3 of them is hypertensive, and the remaining 2, they are having hypercholesterolemia. So it's a very serious issue that we have to.
So some people are in denial of these things. They look good, their fat doesn't show on their body, their skin is still glowing. They don't feel like they're having these issues.
Yes.
But they are consuming ultra-processed food every day. You have some people, I even know people in this very office that drink cola drinks every day without fail. They must have one. But it doesn't show on them. What could be happening inside them?
Yes, those kind of disease, they have a long latent period.
Wow, okay.
Yes. So latent period is just a period whereby it's accumulating itself. For a long time is when you start seeing the symptoms. And when you go to the hospital and you are being diagnosed, at that time, most time it is irreversible.
Wow.
Because it has become a serious issue. It's just like when one now later diagnosed of diabetic. Diabetic cannot be cured. You can only manage it. Same thing, hypertension, same thing, all these non-communicable diseases. If you look at the statistic, you see that there have been a shift from communicable disease, all these small infection, to now non-communicable disease. And when you also look, you discover that the Western people that bring all those things to us, they are now changing their diet. They are going now into vegetarian diet. That diet rich in pulses, legumes, fruit, and vegetable.
Okay.
And we as an Africa, we see ultra-processed food as a way to show our wealth, as a way to show we are big man, and that is why we keep buying them, consuming them, and increasing our increasing
health challenges.
Health challenges, yes.
So I love it. Let's go back to basics. Let's get rid of all the ultra-processed foods from our diets and our shopping lists. Now, I think that's even a great way to start budgeting better, if you ask me, because they're extremely expensive. What we have locally is nice and organic, and it's fresh. It's homegrown mostly, and definitely more healthy for us. Thank you so much for coming to talk to us today.
My pleasure.
We will definitely continue this topic. We would love to take some of your thoughts, comments, and contributions on this one as well. But at this point, let's wrap up the show by inviting you to our kitchen. Now, we didn't have any processed foods in the kitchen today. We knew you were coming, so we had something prepared, ultra organic for you. Okay. Let's go have a taste.